Her game is off to a good start overall. She achieved a draw in her first game on the Champions Chess Tour, while Magnus was defeated in his match. So we have started with the queen's pawn. We know Magnus's strategy. This position is extremely well known, and black has at least 6 or 7 very logical moves here. However, she plays the most direct move. Ivanka mentioned that it's her style. She pushes a pawn, creating maximum tension in the center. Historically, I think she has played Magnus 5 times in classical chess. Unfortunately, she has lost all 5 of those games. However, there were some very close matches. I believe Magnus usually wins by tricking her with pawn captures. The pawn, bishop takes pawn, a quick reply from Magnus, and pawn moving to the edge of the board. Now, it's evident that black wants to expand as much as possible with the pawns on the left side of the board. The finals of the tour have been dramatic, and at this moment, I was about to mention that he's gonna play pawn takes pawn and exchange the queens. The queens have been removed from the board, and the white player has just captured the black queen. This means that the game is now even in terms of material, and the pawn structure is fairly balanced. There are no major vulnerabilities such as double pawns or isolated pawns. However, Magnus is skilled at maneuvering once the queens are off the board, and he starts picking up the pace. Okay, she moves her knight to a strategically advantageous square, improving her pieces. Now it's Magnus's turn, and he swiftly moves his knight to his desired location, allowing his rook to open up in the corner. It seems he always plays this move as soon as black's dark squares divide. I can almost guarantee that Magnus won't even take the time to consider this position. Instead, he will probably make a comment like, okay, it seems like his camera is frozen, so maybe he is thinking if he lost connection. But alright, he's just gonna push his pawn even further, 1 square ahead. He's choosing to ignore the threat on this knight for now. Let's go back. And he played quite quickly. So, what is your favorite travel destination in white tonight? Okay, the attack knight has jumped in. The other knight could have also jumped in. The knights are now protecting each other, and take a look at the black's pawn on the left side of the board. That knight is actually already attacking a pawn, along with white's white light squared bishop along the diagonal. So there are already some significant questions that need to be addressed. Yeah, mate. Can black simply remove the captured pawn? I was gonna say, can black be greedy and capture the pawn? Initially, I was going to advise against it, but then I realized it was actually possible. It is possible, right? That's why both of us were expecting Magnus to use his other knight to jump into that square and protect the pawn that was just captured. Because of that, pawn for white may not appear crucial. It seems like the black bishop made an offside capture by taking it. However, that pawn for white had the potential to determine the outcome of the game. If more pawns are traded off the board, and as long as the black doesn't lose any pieces, white won't be able to win the game in the endgame with their pawns. Passed pawn hold a great value. That's the optimal approach to secure a victory. Personally, I would spend 2 or 3 minutes contemplating such a move, pondering its feasibility. Has my opponent enticed me to capture a pawn as a trick or trap? However, Magnus has demonstrated that he wasn't anticipating it. He simply had to develop his bishop. White's currently a pawn today. Can you perceive if castling is possible? Because if it isn't, okay, are you prepared, Ivanka? Have you established your psychic connection? She castles. And also who you found. She has been higher rated. I mean, she nearly got to 2700, not quite. But 2700, that's kind of golden super grand master mark. I mean, okay, I think she has found a good move, activating a rook that wasn't doing too much. But I was about to say, the clock situation, being 4 or 5 minutes down against the Magnus Carlsen, is not where you want to be, especially when older. they focus on other things in life and as a consequence mean that they don't work as hard. But okay, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things. Let's get back to the action because we certainly saw something happening there in the game. Hold on a second. We need a pause because the move you mentioned has already been played. Yes, she has captured that knight, bringing her closer to her objective of peace exchange. However, take note that by making this trade, White has gotten rid of a poor knight on the edge of the board, while Black has lost a decent knight. It's a trade-off where White has eliminated 4 underperforming knights compared to a Black one. By the way, what is your preferred travel destination in Asia, and what makes it so appealing to you? White no longer possesses a problematic piece, whereas Black is still hampered by the presence of the undesirable bishop at the outermost edge of the board. Now she must find a solution to the issue of how she plans to improve the position of her Black bishop, which is currently defending a pawn. In addition, there are gonna be some tricky maneuvers. Take a check at the Black's back rank as well because it's in very poor shape. Magnus is on track to secure a victory. This type of position suits his style, and he has ample experience in it. It's a simplified scenario where he excels at an endgame virtuoso. However, Wei Fan is not backing down so far. She has been calculating well and finding solutions to challenging situations. That's a crucial aspect in these endgames, backing it up with careful calculation. Perhaps Magnus will opt to target that isolated pawn immediately since it stands alone. And indeed, you can see it on the board. Playing e4 is always a strong move. Do you know something quite amusing? I've been reading a book about the Soviet championship from the 1920s, and interestingly, they never played the move e4. However, in the current game, you can see it on the board and the bishop has been moved to the edge. It's remarkable how poorly positioned that bishop is now. It used to be a valuable piece. The move e4 is typically preferred by aggressive players and attackers. Magnus decides that capturing the pawn is indeed a viable option. He has been incredibly smooth throughout the endgame. Initially, I believed he had played well enough to create several problems for the world champion. She was handling everything he threw at her, right? However, I think allowing the bishop to be pushed back into the corner might have been a mistake. And there we have it, a move. The rook makes a move in the opposite direction, while Magnus chooses to advance. It's a clever way to apply pressure without directly confronting the clock. However, I must emphasize that making risky pre-moves is not advisable. One should avoid such actions. If Black captures the white pawn, White's rook will shift 1 square and pin the bishop. However, if she moves her bishop away from the diagonal, there won't be any piece to move the rook 2 squares up. Well, that's the situation. She resigns, and she is about to lose her bishop and the game concludes. Magnus Carlsen secures a victory. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.